As I stepped into the delivery room, a mix of emotions flooded over me. The room was filled with the soft sounds of a newborn, and there, I saw Wendy, my childhood friend, and Greg, the man I called my husband. There was an undeniable truth that lay between them: the infant. "Here is the baby." "Hi there, Alice. Welcome, you've arrived." Wendy's voice had an artificial cheerfulness to it. "Introducing Kevin. A precious blessing." The words struck me with a force that felt almost tangible. Despite everything, I found a way to keep a smile on my face. "Wow, Wendy, he is absolutely stunning." "Well done." Greg stood there, an image that captures the essence of "Hey there, Alice. I can explain," he stammered. I raised my hand, signaling him to pause reluctantly. "Actually, it's me, Greg. The situation is quite evident." Wendy's eyes gleamed with a blend of victory and frustration. "We didn't anticipate this, Alice. These things simply occur." A shiver ran down my spine as I gazed upon them. I watched as my life unfolded right before me. "Certainly, events unfold without warning," I whispered. "Alice, if you could please." "Sure, let's discuss this, please," Greg pleaded. I couldn't help but shake my head. The harsh truth had sunk in. There was no room for discussion. "Greg, it seems you have made your decision," Wendy interjected, her voice filled with sharpness. "You had no plans of starting a family, considering your career and all." I experienced a sudden rush of frustration, yet swiftly concealed it beneath a composed facade. "This betrayal has nothing to do with my career, Wendy. You are well aware of that." Greg reluctantly extended his hand, his expression tinged with "Dear Alice, apologies. I deeply regret the pain I have caused you." I instinctively moved away, evading his contact. "Yes, you did, Greg. Both of you." As I made my exit, I sensed their piercing stares on my back, laden with unexpressed emotions and remorse. While I departed from the premises, Wendy's voice carried a hint of concern as I followed her. "Make sure to prioritize your well-being, Alice. We apologize for any inconvenience caused." The hospital's clean hallways contrasted with the sweltering heat outside. Nervously, I reached for my cell phone and dialed a number I knew well. "Hey there, it's me. It has occurred. The infant?" "Hey, it's Greg." I spoke with a confident and clear tone, a whirlwind of disorder. "Can you assist me, please? It is imperative that we meet as soon as possible." After the call concluded, I found myself fixated on the plain walls surrounding me. I felt a whirlwind of thoughts swirling in my head. This was more than just a betrayal. This was an unequivocal declaration of war. I had no intention of giving up. After 7 days had passed, I found myself seated opposite my longtime acquaintance Linda at a serene cafe in the heart of... Linda has been my trusted friend since our college days, the sole individual who truly understood me from within. "Hey Alice, how are you doing?" Concern flickered in Linda's eyes. I inhaled deeply, steadying my voice. "It's hard to believe, isn't it?" Linda gently reached across the table and gave my hand a reassuring squeeze. "It's quite intriguing to envision." "So, what was the purpose of our meeting? Do you have any plans in mind?" A steely resolve was evident on my face. "This is unacceptable, and I won't allow them to escape the consequences." "Hello, Linda. I need to take care of something." Linda leaned in closer, her face filled with a sense of gravity. "So, Alice, what's going on in that brilliant mind of..." I paused briefly before I uttered a word. "I want to make them understand the impact of their actions and the pain they have caused me." Linda agreed, grasping the importance of seeking retribution. "Do you have a strategy?" I have carefully outlined my idea. Linda paid close attention. "First and foremost, it is crucial to gather concrete evidence such as texts, emails, or any other form of proof that substantiates their affair." That was a clever decision. Linda shared her thoughts. "However, obtaining the necessary evidence may pose a challenge." I responded with assurance. "I have the ability to use Greg's laptop. He seems to have a careless approach to passwords, and I am familiar with Wendy's daily habits. It should be quite easy to catch her off guard." Linda furrowed her brow, lost in deep contemplation. Once the evidence is obtained, a chilling determination took hold of me. I planned to publicly reveal their actions at the upcoming Smith family reunion, where Greg's entire family will be in attendance. Linda's eyes grew wide with surprise. "That's quite daring, Alice. However, what about the potential repercussions? I looked directly into her eyes. I have already considered that. I am prepared for whatever lies ahead. They will face the consequences of their betrayal. Linda let out a sigh, but her smile remained encouraging. I understand, Alice. I am at your service for any assistance you may require. I couldn't help but feel an overwhelming sense of appreciation for Linda's unwavering support. Thanks, Linda. Could you assist me in accomplishing this task? We dedicated the following hour to strategic planning, meticulously considering each and every move. As I departed from the cafe, I felt a strong sense of direction. Greg and Wendy completely shattered my world. However, I had plans to reconstruct it according to my own vision. They would soon discover the consequences of their deceit. As I pulled up outside Greg's office building, I couldn't help but notice the coolness of the eve, a sense of eager expectation. Tonight was absolutely essential. I had to gain access to his laptop in order to uncover undeniable proof of his betrayal with Wendy. As Greg's car gracefully exited the parking lot, I managed to gain entry using the spare key. He was completely unaware of my actions. I felt a rush of anticipation as I walked towards his home office. The room, once a sanctuary for shared dreams, now stood as a stark reminder of his. I quickly started his laptop, my fingers swiftly tapping away at the keys, managing emails, messages, and photos. I witnessed the unfolding of their affair. I felt a sharp pang in my heart. However, I managed to ignore the pain. This was all about justice. Hey, Alice, what brings you here? I spun around, taken aback. Greg stood in the doorway, his expression a mix of surprise and guilt. Greg, I could ask you the same question. Are you staying at the office late, or are you avoiding coming home? Although my voice remained devoid of emotion, a fiery rage burned within me. Greg let out a deep sigh, his hand instinctively running through his hair. Apologies, Alice. I am aware that I have caused you pain. I scoffed, disdainfully averting my gaze from the laptop. Apologies? This is far from being over. Hey there, Greg. I had faith in you. Greg moved closer. His tone became gentle. Hey there, Alice. Sure, I'm all ears. We have the solution. I looked back, fury ignited. Please address the issue. Hey, Greg, how's it going? By acting as if you didn't betray me by getting involved with my closest friend. Greg seemed taken aback by my words. However, his demeanor grew more stern. It's completely unplanned, Alice. It occurred unexpectedly. I chuckled bitterly. It occurred unexpectedly. So, that's your excuse? Our marriage has been irreparably damaged. Greg averted his eyes. Despite my error, my feelings for you, Alice, remain unchanged. I couldn't help but shake my head in confusion. Adore. Oh, so that's what you refer to it as? Engaging in covert activities? Deceiving me directly? I hesitated as Greg extended his hand towards me, instinctively taking a step. Please refrain from doing that, Greg. We've surpassed that already. I found myself fixated on the laptop screen, confronted by undeniable evidence. Finally, I had everything I required. Proof of your indiscretion. Greg's eyes widened with a sense of alarm. Alice, I urge you to consider the consequences of your actions. I locked eyes with him, my determination yielding. I have carefully considered it, Greg, and I'm only scratching the surface. Leaving Greg frozen in place, I confidently exited, securing the evidence I required. They were about to experience the repercussions of their choices. The Smith family reunion provided an ideal opportunity to expose Greg and Wendy's deceit. Entering the great hall, adorned with family portraits and filled with laughter, I couldn't help but feel a twinge of uncertainty. Every detail had been meticulously planned, and I had the evidence safely stowed away in my purse. I experienced a rush of excitement. That was it. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. Greg was the first to notice, how his eyes grew wide with a mixture of surprise and concern. Alice, it's so great to see you here. I wasn't certain if you... I interrupted him abruptly, flashing a chilly smile. Didn't catch it. Absolutely not, Greg. Hi, Wendy. Upon catching sight of me, she briefly paused before making her way over with a smile that seemed a bit forced. Hey, Alice, great to see you. I gave a brief nod, quickly surveying the room. Quite a successful gathering, wouldn't you say? As dinner commenced, I sensed the penetrating gazes of Greg's relatives fixed upon me. Their hushed murmurs were almost imperceptible, I patiently bided my time, anticipating the perfect at long last. As the toast commenced, I found myself paralyzed, my heart racing within me. "Attention, please." The room fell into a hushed stillness. I was the center of attention. Greg's face turned pale, his eyes silently. Unfortunately, by the time they realized it, it was already too late. "Yes, of course. I have something important to share." I opened my mouth to speak, with unwavering assurance. "Let's talk about Greg and Wendy." The room was filled with an air of anticipation as I carefully unveiled a collection of photos and messages, presenting them for everyone to admire. Proof of their indiscretion, inarguably authentic and unfiltered. There was an immediate and diverse range of reactions: surprise, frustration, letdown. Greg's mother appeared on the verge of fainting, while his father's face flushed with. Wendy attempted to interject, her voice piercing and filled with urgency. "Yes, of course. Appearances can be deceiving." I turned to her. My gaze was icy, wasn't it? "It feels like a betrayal to me. It feels as though I've been betrayed by the two people I trusted the most." Greg finally found his voice, with a sense of urgency in his tone. "I apologize, Alice. Let's discuss this, shall we?" I couldn't help but shake my head. I was determined. "Greg, there's really nothing more to add. You've created your own situation, and now you have to deal with the consequences." The room was in complete disarray. I was approached by family members who were expressing their outrage and disappointment with Greg's father. His expression betrayed a profound sense of remorse. "Wow, Alice, we were completely unaware. I apologize for the experience you had." I nodded, experiencing an unexpected wave of relief amidst the chaos. "Thank you, Mr. Smith. I believe it's important for everyone to be aware of the truth." As I exited the room, the burden of the past few months appeared to lift from my shoulders. I accomplished it, revealed the falsehoods, the deceit. The journey ahead will pose challenges. However, a glimmer of hope emerged within me, breaking the cycle of despair. After my meeting with the family, I realized that the impact of my exposure was far more devastating than I had expected. Greg's family, who were once a source of support and pride, have now abandoned him, leaving Wendy feeling like an outcast. Her true nature was exposed. I found myself sitting across from Linda in the familiar cafe where we had previously planned our next moves. Observing the repercussions, it was clear that they were receiving their just desserts. An unpleasant flavor lingered on my palate. Linda took a sip of her coffee, her eyes conveying the gravity of the situation. "How are you doing? I can imagine that it's challenging for you as well." I nonchalantly shrugged. "It's quite intricate, I must say. It's quite a relief, however, it lacks substance. I finally achieved the justice I sought. But what is the price?" Linda gently touched her, providing comfort. "Alice, you really asserted yourself. Never have any regrets." The scandal quickly became the talk of the town. Greg has been temporarily suspended while an investigation is conducted. Wendy found herself abandoned by her social circles. Their secret relationship, once concealed, was now exposed to the unforgiving gaze of the public. I heard through mutual acquaintances that Wendy had attempted to reach out to me, but I had no interest in accepting her apologies. She had made up her mind, and now she was left to face the repercussions. Greg, however, had transformed into a mere shadow of the person I once knew. He kept calling me over and over, leaving voicemails where he apologized and begged for forgiveness. However, I couldn't muster any sympathy for him. He had shattered the promises we had made and the faith we had established. One evening, I received a phone call from Greg's mother. Her voice sounded weary and heavy with sorrow, and all I wanted was to express our family's sincere apologies. "We were completely unaware of Greg's deceitful actions. You certainly didn't deserve anything of this nature." Although her words carried a sense of kindness, they offered little solace for the pain. "Thank you, Smith. Thank you for reaching out." After the call concluded, I found myself gazing out the window, observing the world as it carried on. The streets were filled with energy as people hurried along, seemingly unaware of the chaos. It dawned on me that it was also time for me to make a change. I had accomplished everything I set out to do, the falsehoods and deception. However, allowing anger and bitterness to consume me would only exacerbate the situation. That day, I made a firm decision. It was time to turn the page and begin anew. Greg and Wendy made their own choices, just like I did. A journey towards healing and, hopefully, finding happiness. It's been a couple of months since I uncovered the truth about Greg and Wendy. The storm of emotions has settled, transforming into a peaceful acceptance. I embarked on a fresh chapter of my journey, characterized by personal exploration and healing. Linda and I crossed paths once more at our regular cafe, a venue that had been a silent witness to both my quest for vengeance and my subsequent transformation. You appear to have a unique quality about you, and somehow more weightless. Linda's gaze locked onto mine. A smile graced my face as a wave of tranquility washed over me, a feeling I had long forgotten. I'm not like everyone else, Linda. The situation involving Greg and Wendy has prompted me to reassess my entire perspective. I released the anger that had been consuming me. Linda returned the smile, visibly relieved. That's great news. Clutching on to anger is akin to consuming poison and hoping the other individual will suffer the consequences. I gave a silent nod of approval. And I have some exciting news to share. I've made the decision to embark on a fresh chapter, and Linda leaned in my direction, her interest sparked. Please provide me with the information. I proclaimed. I will be relocating to a different city, starting a fresh chapter with a brand new job. Linda's grin grew even wider. That's fantastic, Alice. You truly deserve an abundance of happiness. I savored my coffee, brimming with anticipation for what lies ahead. Thanks, Linda. I can't wait for it. Oh, and I have an additional addition, Linda asked, her eyes shining with excitement. I paused briefly. The words felt surreal even to me. I've encountered an individual. Michael is his name. He stands out from the crowd, compassionate, empathetic. We've been seeing each other for a few weeks now. Linda's enthusiasm was evident. Hi there, Alice. Wow, that's absolutely incredible. Give me all the details about him. Reflecting on Michael's impact, I can't help but acknowledge the tremendous growth I've experienced since those difficult months in the past. The pain inflicted by Greg and Wendy's betrayal will forever be intertwined with my narrative. However, it no longer shaped my identity. I seized the reins of my narrative, transforming a heart-wrenching conclusion into a promising new start. The sun was setting outside the cafe window, enveloping the bustling city in a warm, gold. Life continued unwavering and exquisite in its tenacity, and I did as well, embraced a future brimming with endless opportunities and the potential for fresh